out tonight. I'd like to call the September 12th Bristol, Virginia School Board meeting to order. And if you'd rise, and we'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I had everyone's attention, so I didn't gavel. All right. Item 1B, approval of agenda.
Mr. Chair, could we please add a discussion item 3C on the agenda?
3C,
Yes, to discuss the IB program rollout.
we can do that. We have
Thank you.
a motion to add a 3C IB discussion. Do we have a second on that?
Discussion, what?
Of IB?
IB.
Oh,
Do we have a second?
second.
Okay. Ms. Jones? Do we need to call a roll for that, to add the agenda item? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mrs. Forshaber?
Yes.
Mr. Goodhart?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. All right. Item 2A, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Perigin?
Yes, sir. Chairman Alvis, if it pleases the board, unless there's something really pressing in future months for the superintendent's report, I'll just provide an update on school construction at our new intermediate school. And I plan to do that tonight. As you can see from the picture on your screen, work is well underway. Some footers have already been poured. What you're seeing there, that is the footer, part of the footer for the new gym and the new cafeteria. That's the first phase of construction that is going on. So you can see that we're making some good progress there. You know that we were talking earlier in the summer about a schedule for blasting. As you can see in front of us, there was some reason for them to think that they may have to blast due to some rock on site. However, they think they are going to be able to chip all that away without blasting. So that's some good news. We also, as you can see, as part of the footers, you're starting to see some conduit going in, and so we're really, I think they're really pleased with the schedule and the progress that they're making up to this point. And you'll see here, that's the fire hall there at the top of the screen, and you can see that the new road is starting to develop. We hope by late October, early November, that we'll have the first set of pavement on top of that, and we can move our car rider line to that part of the building, which would be the eastern end of the school. I have been sending you guys, and we're making these available on our website, the weekly updates. This is the most recent update that you see there in front of you. I'll just share that quick summary with you. Oops, I lost it on my screen. The site preparation of buildings A, B, and C have continued. A is where the gym and the cafeteria, the gym and the cafeteria will be. And they've brought in material, they've spread it, they've rolled it. The rock busting and soil undercutting is also ongoing. And Cross Engineering is doing the soil compaction testing. There was a couple of soft spots, but they've got that worked out. And it looks like that our soil, the soil compaction is going to be approved across the entire site. The building layout continues on site. BVU has already started to pressure test the water lines, and Skanska is making sure that everybody's staying on track. We have bi-weekly meetings, and if I don't ask the right questions, Skanska makes sure that I do. And then finally, you'll also see that if board members would like to have this, and we're looking to get a public option up, but this is right now is a login only, and we have live cameras on site, so you can see the construction going in. You can pan from left to right, up and down. You can zoom in and out, and this is the camera. This is the look from Van Pelt currently. There's also another camera that's over on the right side of that property on that trailer. And so if board members would like to have a link to that, we could provide it for you, and we're working with J Street to provide public access to this, but not with the panning abilities and the zoom in and zoom out, just a basic camera shot. And so, Mr. Chairman, that is my superintendent's report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Good. Any questions, comments?
The soft spots, is that a euphemism for a sinkhole?
That is we have one area where there's a sinkhole. That work has been completed, and the other was just the soil was not compact enough, and that was on the road over towards the fire hall. And so they had to do some undercutting and some
All
field
the
work.
engineers are approving it now.
Oh, yeah. That's the Cross Engineering Group. It's a little bit frustrating, I think, for the contractors sometimes because they're really holding them accountable for all that. And so it has slowed up progress on that part of the work, which is probably why you see that they're already starting to lay the footers on the gym and the cafeteria side.
Where's the sinkhole located?
Where the tennis court used to be,
Okay.
on the eastern end, right beyond where the tennis court was placed.
How come they didn't find it earlier?
I don't know, both J Street and Ballard Construction, the first group that was doing bids on the land, they all did their soil testing, and neither of them found the sinkhole there. Obviously, they expected it might happen since Bristol is basically sitting on top of one big sinkhole. But anyway, so that we actually, I think they were pleased that the sinkhole was not any larger, and that they were able to fix it easily.
That's why we couldn't keep tennis courts up there. They kept cracking.
Probably so. And I don't know if you've been by, you ought to go by the site if you haven't, but the temporary and the permanent ponds are working really well with all the rain that we had this weekend. Nothing washed out on the road or on our neighbors, and you can see that if we had some bass or bluegill, we could even go fishing in a couple of those ponds.
They'd stock it. Any other comments, questions? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item 3A, presentation of RRMM Architect Superintendent Scholarship.
So, Mr. Chairman, I just got an email from RRMM Architects, and that the gentleman who's going to be here is on his way.
Okay.
If we could wait, if it's okay with the Davidsons, if we'd wait just a minute for him to be here.
Okay, that'd be
But
fine.
he said he was about 7 minutes ago, he's about 12 minutes out. So,
All right, we'll move on to discussion item 3B, discussion of bridging the gap pilot from the Virginia Department of Education.
Mr. Chairman, just wanted to make the board aware that several school divisions across the state were invited to participate in a pilot called Bridging the Gap. This was a new initiative by the Secretary of Education and the state superintendent to have more transparency and honesty in data sharing with families. We set in on the initial information session on this, so unsure of whether I would recommend for us to participate or not. And one of the first things that we learned as part of the Bridging the Gap program is that in year 2, which would be next year, every school division is going to have to participate in it. And so my thought was, regardless of whether we thought this was going to be beneficial in the short term, in the long term, we're going to have to do it anyway. So I'd rather be at the table trying to help identify flaws or to try to make the process better. And so I've recommended that our school division participate. We've not had our second meeting yet, but hopefully we'll learn then more about exactly what the program will be. We'll make a determination if we're going to do one school or multiple schools to start that process. And just a quick summary of what happens is we will learn how to use data, all the data points that we have, whether it be PALS reading or SOL scores or SAT scores, and to communicate that better to parents, but also to use that data to identify students who have experienced learning loss as a result of the pandemic, and to help for all those students who are identified to develop a personalized learning plan for them to catch up. And so, at the end of the day, I think if VDOE does it right, I think this could be very beneficial to our school community and to our students and to our families. Just waiting to learn more. They put out the press release that we're going to be one of the participants, and so I wanted to make sure the board was fully aware of what we'll be doing with the Bridging the Gap program.
Any questions?
Why are they waiting to the 8th grade?
Maybe because there's more robust data at that point, I'm not sure.
How
So
many?
we know whether or not they can read by the 3rd grade.
We're not waiting. It's data from K through 8.
Right, it's going to be every data point that we have going up until K through 8 they're going to use that. You caught me off guard. I thought maybe you knew something about the program that I didn't when you said that they were waiting until 8th grade. But they're using all that K through 8 data, including the PALS reading scores.
How often are they getting this feedback or trying to give the feedback to the,
So I think the plan, the initial plan, they're going to roll that out is we're going to collect the data throughout the course of this year. We'll provide training to first administrators in the buildings who are participating, and then the teachers in the buildings who are participating about how to communicate, how to interpret that data. And then by the end of the year, students will go, with whatever school or schools that we choose, those students will go home with that data communication that we talked about earlier, and with, if needed, the personalized learning plan about how we start to attack that into the future. And so there won't be a personalized learning plan that goes into effect this year. It'll be data collection and communication with that personalized learning plan going into effect next school year.
so maybe the next school year, I mean, instead of someone getting 2 months behind, you're able to catch it soon enough without them struggling
Identified
for
and
the
have
rest of the
a specified plan, research-based specified plan on how to hopefully help those students recover that learning. And so that will be next year. The following year, that will happen for every school in our division, every school in the Commonwealth. And so this year is just a pilot to work out the kinks.
Will they hold anybody back a year?
No, that Tennessee is doing some thing looking at testing and holding folks back, but that is now part of the personalized learning plan. Potentially might be a recommendation for retention. I think we have our own set of standards that we use as we make those decisions, and I doubt very seriously without legislation that we would take a state recommendation to hold one of our kids in Bristol back.
Do you know about how many children you would anticipate might have personalized learning plans based on what we've seen recently, and who's going to create those plans?
Well, I mean, just off the cuff, what I would say is any student who did not experience growth, which those the growth measure results will be released later this month, or either didn't pass the SOL test straight up, or didn't receive a pass because they experienced growth. I would say any of those students would be identified as needing a personalized learning plan. Depending on what school you're at, that's roughly 15 to 18% of our students currently.
And who's going to do those plans? Who's going to create those?
The plan a template will be made by VDOE that will be basically a set of drop-down choices that the state will fill in, and then we'll also have our own local input into that as well. And so I think the idea is not to overwhelm teachers with having the task of doing a lot of individual personalized plans that they have to create from scratch, but they'll have a good template from which teachers can start. That's part of the reason that I think it's good for us to be in on the front end of it, to make sure that we're having those conversations. Because, you know, our teachers are doing a lot already.
Right.
And without adding something else to their plate, 2 years from now, it's not going to be a choice. Every school is going to have to implement it. So I'd rather be on the front end helping make recommendations to make it as useful as possible.
Anybody have anything else? I have a question. It doesn't relate to this, but the program that Ms. Harper does, we get emails a couple of times a week that it's down. Is that going to affect any of this stuff here?
You're talking about our parent portal with Power School, is that?
Power School, that's it.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I mean, if we can't get to the data, how is anyone else?
Pearson is where Power School comes from, but Pearson also does SOL testing, and Pearson has had a lot of trouble, not just in Bristol, but all across the state. I know probably all across the country. They service student databases all across the country, and so yeah, I'm sure that Pearson's going to have to be a good partner for this to be effective.
Okay. All right. That was just seemed like we had trouble a couple of times a week. There's an email from her.
Yeah, and she feels that.
I'm sure she does. I mean, is Pearson the only one? I mean, is there other groups out there?
Right. Pearson does our SOL test.
Right.
There's other testing data points that can be used, like, for example, we can use our own local benchmarks that we do through CIP, the PALS, Early Reading Intervention, ACT. So there'll be several other, but really a bulk of that will be from Pearson's SOL data.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is the door unlocked down there?
It was when I come through.
Okay.
I might have been the last one through. Or Brad, Mr. Dowd.
It was.
Let's see. Public comment. I don't have any cards. Anybody?
3C, our new agenda.
Oh,
item.
3C, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Item 3C, I don't have a pen, so I didn't write it down. So, item 3C, discussion of the IB program.
Yeah, so thank you for adding this to the agenda. I just wanted to, am I blowing you all out with my voice here? Okay. We had talked a few months ago about the IB program and about moving forward with that as a division. And my understanding of that discussion was that we were going to get together and talk with teachers and students and parents and the community and make sure we rolled this out in a really successful way. And maybe that looked like partnering with another high school. Maybe it looked like starting in the middle school, but just to kind of assess the options. And I think it's moving a little bit more quickly than that. And I have some serious concerns that we're not quite set up for success at this point. So what I would like to do, or to share my thoughts, see what you all think, is my preference would be that we pump the brakes on sending anybody for training or doing any big structural changes with schedules, things like that, and have a little bit more of a planning time and a planning discussion, because I'm afraid if we jump into it next year, I know we don't have full teacher support yet. I know we don't have, I don't think we have the issue anywhere close to worked out with dual enrollment or college credits. And I'm just very concerned that we're going to put a lot of time and effort and money into this and it's not going to be successful.
Any other comments or thoughts?
The only thing that I would add to that, I talked to Mr. Collins and Mr. Ritchie. Mr. Collins today, Mr. Ritchie late last week. We're having a hard time getting a science teacher to volunteer to teach the science portion of it. And then Mr. Ritchie had also shared that IB does not allow IB schools to work off a block schedule. I know Mr. Ritchie has been on a IB message board or something trying to find what other alternatives are. And so Mr. Collins had touched base with me about that today. If we do implement that next year, the board also needs to start thinking about, do we move away from a block schedule and back to a 7-period day? Do we move to an AB type block schedule? Or do we try to create a completely different schedule for the students who try to participate? And so just to add into what you're saying, those are some of the obstacles that we've hit just this week. Not saying they're insurmountable, but it's some discussion that we definitely need to take as we move forward.
And I appreciate the work that you've done, Mr. Ritchie. I don't mean to sound dismissive of that, but my strong preference would be, if it's the will of the board, that we give our direction to Dr. Perigin and Mr. Ritchie, that we plan. We do sort of a planning period. We talk for, we touch base at the next meeting. We pull the maybe gifted IB committee together. We start to come up with a roadmap of what we think success for the IB program looks like in Bristol. Knowing that means we won't be starting it next year, but hopefully that means it's going to be something that's sustainable and successful, for years to come.
I agree. I think we need to develop an IB board of teachers to discuss these things and start the plan, because we can't be too early on it, I don't think.
So currently, I think, and Mr. Ritchie, you tell me if I'm wrong, I think we're getting ready to buy plane tickets for teachers to go to Los Angeles for training. But if the board is willing, we want to be in compliance with what the board's wishes are. And so we're moving forward to get it done. And if the board is okay with doing a planning year, that certainly takes some pressure off of Mr. Collins and Mr. Ritchie as we go through that planning process.
If I could just add, as we are going through the canvassing.
Would you go on the mic? So it's live. Thanks, Gary.
We are going through the candidacy process. We are on a timeline. If we are implementing this school year, we have to have really everything in place in a visiting committee coming to visit the 1st of March. And one thing that I did not know was all of our teachers have to be trained before the visit, or that's a potential problem. And so we're working to get teachers in place to get them trained. And, I mean, we are short one teacher as of right now, but, so that's where we are. Having the opportunity to slow things down, I personally think is definitely the right move. But, I mean, we are going through the candidacy process. We started that. And so, you know, my commitment was to try to be ready for the visiting committee in March, as you directed. I mean, or I felt like you directed that you wanted to implement. So I'm working toward that. And we have met with some teachers who have expressed interest in teaching. We met with all the department heads already. Mr. Collins last week gave me a list of names of students specifically in 9th and 10th grade, of families we needed to meet with, and we had the same plan to meet with 8th grade parents of students who are taking Algebra 1, World History, and Advanced English at the 8th grade level.
That's good information. I think we need to have an update every meeting if we can. You know, it doesn't have to be lengthy, just to give us the bullet points.
Sure.
Is Los Angeles the only place they're offering training?
I'm not sure. Is Los Angeles the only place they're offering training?
No, St. Pete, and we do have a few teachers who wanted to do virtual, and there are some who want to be in person. I took a virtual class in February of last year, and I don't want to do a virtual class again. I want to go in person. So it depends on people's learning styles as to what they would prefer.
So it's either St. Petersburg or?
No, based upon the timing. And so the goal was anything before February, we could send teachers to. And so if we had a longer span of time, which we would potentially, we might be able to find a place. Like, for example, they have some trainings in Washington, D.C., in Nashville.
I think I went through it in Nashville.
Yeah.
So if we slowed down, then we could go closer to home for the training? Or is it too late to do that now?
Babe, no, we have not reserved any, but I have the pink Post-it sheet, and I've been talking to people such as Brad because
Right.
we're ready to seal the deal because,
Right.
I mean, they fill up quickly, so.
Well, I guess the other point is if we need to, if they don't go to the schools that have block schedule, I mean, we need to decide as a board, are we, the advantages of going to block, are we willing to give that up to go to 7-period day?
Or the AB day. I mean, that's a different, but I certainly think that is a discussion that needs to be had with the teachers, because suddenly the teachers, instead of teaching 3 classes at a time, they're teaching 6 classes at a time. I mean, you know, that is potentially not going to be popular with teachers. And one other concern Mr. Collins had mentioned to me today, I had not even thought about, and that is our Bearcat Bridge program, the career launch, where we're placing students into jobs the second semester. If we went to the AB day, which would probably be the easiest to fit in compared to our block schedule, it could, you know, make it very difficult to implement that piece of it.
So it's all or nothing? It's either all block?
No. We would have to go to an a 7-period day, an A day, B day, or we would have to create a schedule inside the schedule where some teachers were teaching on a block, other teachers were teaching on a 7-period schedule. I mean, you know, there's a million different ways to skin a cat. We just need to decide which method we're going to use.
Yeah.
The biggest hang-up for us has been the time. When you look at, when I went to training this summer, I had an idea of what we were going to do with the program. So I said, we're going to teach this class for this amount of time, and then we're going to teach this class, and the instructor said, IB will not allow you to do that. They want concurrency of education, or
Concurrency of learning.
concurrency of learning, that the courses that the IB learner take, especially in the diploma program, are spread over a 2-year period. We're trying to squeeze those into a year or into a half a year of block schedule. And he said, you know, I don't think they're going to allow you to do that. And as Mr. Ritchie is trying to find other schedules, I have my intern this summer look at all 37 schools in Virginia that had IB classes, and none of them were on a 4x4 schedule. So we've been looking at, how can we make this happen? And right now, on a block schedule, it doesn't look like it's working. One of the biggest hangups is for that 2-year period, classes couldn't start until the second semester of their junior year, and then they would finish it the first semester of their senior year. That goes over a 2-year period, but it's going to take away the opportunity to take classes first semester of their junior year, and we can't get them in. So we ran into several different roadblocks with our schedule.
Yeah, I think so.
So would it be fair to say that perhaps instead of pursuing starting August 2023, we could take this year as a planning year without throwing too many wrenches in the works of what you're already doing, and we could talk about it, plan for the year, and then we could have a much more educated decision about what it might look like? I know this is a discussion item and not a motion, but does that feel like we could give that direction to Mr. Ritchie?
I mean, I think it's the smart thing to do. Instead of trying to rush it through, I mean, we need to get involvement. I mean,
Yes.
My fear is spending money up front and have 4 or 5 students do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my fear, and so we need to make sure that we have student buy-in. I think that's that's the initial thing. If they're bought in, we'll figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And you may decide, as you're working through the process, that the diploma program, IB has 3 programs. They have an elementary, they have a middle years program, and then a diploma program. So you may decide that you want to start it here to build that cadre of students.
Right.
Carry that on into high school so that you have informed parents and informed kids who are making those decisions. We have our student body now, our 10th graders, know exactly what we're going to take 11th and 12th grade because they're driving toward, or our upper level students are driving toward getting that associate's degree before they get their high school diploma.
Right.
And so that is, to have them in that place, right now, if we started next year, I don't know that we would have students who would jump right in and do it because they have no idea what it is.
Right.
How many schools in the area are on block scheduling?
I can't hear you.
I think
Speak to that mic.
What?
Pull it up.
Mr.
Can't hear you.
Mr. White asked how many schools in the area are on block schedule. To my knowledge, Mr. Collins will probably know better. Most schools are. I think maybe Buchanan County and Radford are the 2 in Region 7 that are not on a block schedule at this time. I may be wrong on that, but that's the last.
Most, when we made the switch, it was really because we fit in with everybody else around us, which really helps when, especially with our demographics move as much as they do when they can. If they're going across town or into the county school, or we're getting those students, we're able to match the schedules like that. There are very few in the area that have a 7th period.
When did we do that?
When did we go to block?
Yeah.
Years ago.
I'm going to say about 2010.
11.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do it 20 years ago. We did not want to do it 20 years ago because Tennessee High was doing it. And the argument was that the block periods were so long that people go to sleep.
Well, from what I'm hearing, I think we need to
Miss
I agree.
Ms. Jones, if it pleases the board, we'll just add an agenda item for an IB discussion each month through the course of this fiscal year. And then we'll start the process of planning, a planning year for this year and moving into 2024, 2025 as the first year.
That's what we need.
Do you all see this as another committee or attachment to the advanced program?
I think a combination of our gifted team and our advanced programs team.
Yeah, I personally think that we need a larger group that we are talking to about this. I mean, because I think as we're having the conversation, we're helping to make the sale or at least educating parents about the program. So my hope would be, at least initially, to invite more as an informational meeting, and then others who have more interest, we would be able to bring them on board.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank,
Thank you all.
all right, now let's move back to item 3A, the presentation of the RRMM Architect Superintendent Scholarship.
Well, finally made it.
Welcome to Bristol.
How you doing, sir? I'm good. I'm good.
Glad to have
Now that I'm off 81, I'm good. I left Fairfax at 11:30 this morning. I didn't anticipate 81 being a parking lot. At any rate, I'm here.
It always is.
Thank you. I'll try to do I'll drive 11 all the way. I don't care. I'll just get stopped by all the lights. It's not as frustrating. At any rate, Kenny Word, Business Development Manager with RRMM Architects. Thank you for having me. I'll be very brief. So on an annual basis, we always recognize the Superintendent of the Year as well as the 8 Regional Superintendents of the Year. It's our way of giving back to the community as well as recognizing these great educators for all that they do for the students in their respective districts. Without further ado, the Region 7 Superintendent of the Year is none other than Dr. Keith Perrigan. So I'm pretty much driving around the state just giving away money. So how cool is that, right? Can we take a picture with this?
Absolutely.
Can the board congregate back there and take a picture?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gary, would you, what is Ronnie, would you use my phone?
I'll take a picture.
One, two, three. All right, I'll take about 15 pictures. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
So I'm back. So,
Stay put, would you stay put just 1 second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's really nice and I appreciate it. However, probably the only reason I was even considered for that award is because of the great work that our staff did as we opened school during a pandemic and opened earlier than anybody else in the area. And then that's probably one of the reasons that I was recognized with that award. But the best part about getting that award is I get to give a $500 scholarship to one of our students. And since this award was given to me for leadership, I thought I would pick one of our students who I think is just an amazing leader. And, to be a leader, we can all say that we're leaders, but to be a leader, you actually have to have somebody that'll be willing to follow you. And so I just thought that Connor Davidson was the perfect student for us to recognize with this award. And if you even look on his huddle page, you'll see that Connor is a leader. He is out front leading his team into the battle. And this weekend, as a matter of fact, Tammy, if you want to go ahead and, while I'm talking, and play his highlight from this weekend, go on down one more. Right there, you can watch Connor in action. Connor had a phenomenal football game. Oh, there's going to be a Gatorade commercial first, so it'll be about 12 seconds. But that's not Connor. So I think, Connor scored a touchdown, had a bunch of rushing yards, a bunch of receiving yards. He had an interception, had a bunch of tackles. So he's a leader on the football field. But I've been here for about 5.5 years now. And one of the first student leaders I met was Connor Davidson. He was a student leader at the middle school. And every year since then, every time that I see Connor, he is in the middle of things, leading and being a great example for his students, whether it's recording a commercial to encourage his classmates and his teammates to get a vaccine during COVID, or if it's just, making good decisions and keeping his nose clean and staying out of trouble. Connor is truly a leader, and he doesn't let anything get in his way. And I think, if I've had any success, that's been part of my success, is just I'm tenacious and gritty, and I see those same traits in Connor. And so I wanted to recognize Connor with this scholarship. And Connor, if you'll come forward, I'd like to give you this award.
Are you going to UVA? That's the question. Sorry.
Can we get a picture with you guys up here with Connor too?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, before, Connor, before you leave, y'all have any comments from the board?
Congratulations.
Mom and
That's great.
Dad, I suppose, thank you for what you all do. I'm sure you helped him a little bit along the way.
Well,
Well
I just
done.
want to say I enjoy watching you play football from an old Bearcat to another. I appreciate the way that you play, and it's no wonder that your teammates and folks in the school follow you, because you're 100% full steam ahead, and I appreciate that.
We appreciate you all so much too.
All right.
Yeah, you
too.
Thanks. And good luck Friday, Connor.
Yep.
All right, public comment. I believe we're all home folk here. All right, item 5, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Jones?
Mr. Fletcher,
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes Heather,
Yes.
Mr. Goodpaster,
Abstain.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. All right, item 6A, approval of awarding RFP number 04-2021-22 to Genesis Interiors.
Mr. Chairman, I will turn that over to Ms. Jones if she wants to add anything to the conversation.
So as part of the building of the new school, we were approached by several furniture people to furnish the new school. So we decided our best bet would be to issue a RFP. So these design services cost us nothing. However, of course, the designer would get a fee from the manufacturer. So there was a committee, reviewed the RFPs, and selected Genesis Interiors as our partner for the new school furniture.
Were they low bid?
They were no cost.
There's no bid. They
No
just,
cost, right.
you like what they presented.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Genesis Interiors.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or? All right, Ms. Jones?
Mr. Fletcher,
Yes.
Ms. Forbes Hubbard,
Yes.
Mr. Goodpasture,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Fletcher, Mr. Alba, sorry.
Yes. All right, item 6B, approval of school board budget revision number 1.
Ms. Jones?
This budget revision focuses mainly on updating grants to the actual allocation provided by the state or the actual carryover amount. I will point out 2 new grants. One is on line 92, and it is the school-based health workforce grant, and this will be utilized to assist our school nurses with professional development, as well as an additional bonus for the work they performed during COVID. And the the Early Learning Center, which is on line 133, and that is funded by Jen Ann Foundation and the United Way. The overall budget change is a reduction of revenue and expenditures of $425,284.02. Again, most of this relates to updating grants to the actual allocation or the actual carryover. You will also notice that the other fund balance numbers were adjusted for the actual fund balances as of June 30, 2022.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the,
I
The
move we
revision
approve
one.
the revision number 1, budget revision number 1.
have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
So basically, this money, I mean, it's removed from the revenue, but it's replaced with the grant? Is that correct, or? The money, is it, it's removed from our revenue, but the grant replaces it? Is that?
So in February of the year before, we have to estimate what we think our grants will be and our carryover amounts. And of course, we may spend more or less by June 30th than what we estimated. You can see in the budget revision that most of it relates to ESSER funding. And so if it wasn't spent before June 30, it carries over. And if it was spent before, then we utilized it.
Okay.
So you're just making an adjustment.
Yes, to balance out our grants to actual numbers.
I will also add that with the Jean Ann Foundation grant that she mentioned, we are excited that this upcoming Monday, we think this upcoming Monday, we're going to start our 3-year-old child care program at Virginia High School, where our students at Virginia High are going to be trained on how to provide child care. They'll earn a child care certification by the end of the class. They'll also receive dual enrollment credit, so we can start filling the teacher pipeline, and students can go straight to the teacher prep program at Virginia Highlands to go ahead and get started. So we're serving 3-year-olds in our community for the first time. We're training our students to become child care certified, and we're filling in the teacher pipeline while taking some of the child care shortages that we have in our community and filling those too. So it's a win across the board. This has been Jennifer Hurt's dream, and I'm so thrilled that she's seeing it through here for us. This is an exciting week for us.
It's good. Good. All right. We can take a vote. Ms. Jones, yes.
Mr. Fletcher?
Yes?
Forgot where it was.
Yes.
Mr. Goodpaster?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Yes. All right, item 6C, approval of granting superintendent permission to hire new employees between September 13th, 2022 and October 3rd, 2022 in consultation with the school board.
Mr. Chairman, you'll notice in closed session tonight, we will be considering a resignation and a retirement, and we also had a late resignation earlier in the month from another teacher. We are ready to, one of those positions we're ready to recommend a hire. The other two we'll need to fill. If we fill that before October the 1st, it enables that employee to get a full year's credit with VRS. If we do it after October 1st, they don't get credit for the VRS year. And so I know that's just a couple of days, but in order to take good care of our employees, I'd like to have the permission to get those positions hired if we can, if we got the right candidates, so we can do it before October 1st.
Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the superintendent's permission to hire somebody if it works out.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further question or discussion? Ms. Jones?
Mr. Fletcher?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartzhead?
Yes.
Mr. Goodpaster?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. All right, with that, we move into item number 7, closed session. Mr. Fletcher, you want to read us in?
Sure. Pursuant to Section 2.23711A1A8 of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following matters: discussion of certain personnel, recommendation for employment and resignations, consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters, and approval of superintendent's contract.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Ms. Jones?
Mr. Fletcher?
Yes?
Mrs. Schwartzhead?
Yes.
Mr. Goodpaster?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. All right, with that, we'll go to closed session. Thank you, everyone.
when she said it was time to do another question, I was like,
We're done. She's wishing she wouldn't have done that.
yeah.
Okay. Mr. Fletcher, you want to read us in?
The Bristol, Virginia School Board certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting, and only such public matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were considered.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Let's do a second. Ms. Jones?
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Do I have a motion to approve attachment A?
I move we approve attachment A.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Jones?
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Do we have a motion to approve the superintendent's contract?
I move we approve the superintendent's contract.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Ms. Jones?
You had, excuse me, you had mentioned something about the dates. What was the change on the dates?
It was the 2020, the year 2026.
To
That's what he had
2020.
asked for, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The one I sent out said 2025, but it should have been 2026.
Is this the time to speak or not?
Did what?
Is this the time to speak or not?
Yeah, we can have discussion.
Okay, well, the only thing I was going to say is, I know that we've done four-year contracts before. I've been on the board when we've done four-year contracts before, but I don't recall ever having as many positions up for election. Usually it was two, and when it started, two were on, and then two would come on possibly, but they never did because the board was that sincere. And I do have a problem with 4 years. 3 years, I have no problem with whatsoever. But hog time, basically, the people who may be coming on or may not be, whatever.
Good.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
That's just me.
when Dr. Lindbergh was here, he left, but he had already started that process to do his contract before. And the reason I know it, because me and you and Beth were up for election at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
And he wanted the security, even though he ended up leaving and taking another job. But, I mean, it's something that we've done. I know we've done it with him, and I believe Rex was starting that process as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's 3 seats. I mean, just because we have 4 up this time, I mean, it's, I don't see the difference, 3 or 4. I mean, 3's a majority. If we did it when we had the 3, why is it an issue when we do the 4? I just don't understand that, but. Either comment or? Ms. Jones?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes. All right. Any other old or new business? All right. I'll get my gavel out this time.
Keep that as.
Meeting is adjourned.
You understand that that's simply about Vanessa and